looking at Liebestraume from Ms Thompson, which is probably on page 52 of the book. I'm going to make a correction in the very first note. I don't want that first note to say number 2 on all cows eat grass. So not number 2 on grass. I want it to say number 1 on grass. That makes a lot more sense. And we're going to look at the first couple of measures, just the left hand. So we have grass, and then we have all cows eat grass. And your hands are already there. And the next measure, that grass, is going to become sharp, and your left hand is going to drop. Boys and grass sharp. The second left hand note in the second measure does the grasses, that sharp grass is held. There's a tie, but the bottom note, that B, is going to become flat. So one more time. At this point, you should stop the video. And then you're going to restart it right at the point that we're at. So you need to do that. And I am going to pretend that you stopped the video at this point. I hope that you actually did. If you didn't, you really should. And we're going to look at the right hand. So the right hand says middle C and G. And if you follow the numbers, you're going to know where you're at. So you should take a look at that before you try the left hand. I'm going to do them both together, and then you should stop the video. And at this point, you should stop this video. I would try the right hand first, and then see if you can put those two hands together. And then you want to come back and restart. So I am going to pretend that you stopped that video, and I'm hoping that you actually did. I'm going to play the part you should already have worked on and know. And we're going to go on to the third measure, third full measure. So in the third full measure, your little finger is going to play A, but your number 1 is going to stay on G, and it isn't going to be sharp anymore. It's regular. The second note in the third measure is still grass, but this time you are going to use your 2. Grass, always, and back to grass. So let's take a look at that measure again. So now your number 1 is on always. You need to stop the video and try that, because this is going to get harder, and this is the time to stop. So I'm going to pretend that you stopped the video and tried it from the beginning. Now we're going to add the right hand to the top line. So the top line, the right hand is going to say C sharp and E, third measure. That E, they want you to, Ms Thompson wants you to do it with your second finger. He is the finger expert, so follow his fingers. 4. So I'm going to put that measure together with 2 hands. And you need to go back and try it from the beginning with both hands. Look at the first measure of the second line. So you're going to stop the video and go and try that whole first line. You should be able to play. Don't go any further until you can do that. So I'm going to assume you did that and you're back. And we're going to look at the first measure of the second line. So I'm actually going to play it though, play the whole first line, and then we'll start talking about the second line. What happens? Well, your number 1 is now on always, your 2 is on grass. So your 3 and your 5 are already where they need to be, but the 3 is black. What is the right hand saying? The right hand is saying middle C and E, and then the right hand is going to reach down to the note A, and you're going to bring your whole hand with you. So the right hand says, and you're going to watch me play that first measure of the second line. And I want you to stop the video and go back and try and add that new measure. So you go ahead and go do that. So I am going to assume that you stopped the video at this point, and I'm going to play the first line and the first measure of the second line, and then we're going to talk about what else happens. Looking at the second measure of the third line, where that A plays again, it's going up. It says 2 and 5. I'm looking at the right hand. Indeed, you are using your 2 and 5 there. But I want you to also add G7, the root, and the 7th. So if you want to write G7, the root, and the 7th there in the second measure for the left hand. And again, it would say, starting at the beginning of the the second line, and now I'm going to play middle C, but it should be your number 3 finger. So I'm in the next measure, the third measure, and the left hand is saying C and E. Whatever you need to do with your fingers there is fine. I tend to play 1 and 3. So I'm going to go back and play it from the very beginning, and we're going to try it again. Then it starts the next part. And the next part is mostly a repeat, but there is one place where it's slightly different. And I'm going to call attention to where that is with you. Let me see if I can find it. And I know that there's one place that's a little different. And if you look at the third measure on the second page, and I'm trying to compare it to what, okay, I see it. So that measure is just a little bit different. And that measure, it still has the 3 and the 5 and the 3 that are D and F sharp. But in your the first part of this, it was C and E, but now it's going to be C and A. And that's on page 53. The top line, the third measure, has one note that's different than the first part. So I'm going to play it as far as I think you can play. Going just a little further. And I don't expect you to go further. But you want to go sit down and try it and see if you can play the first 3 lines and at least the first note of the 4th line. Good luck. Bye-bye.